Hello everyone, Rare Model Reviews here, and today we have the high-grade Cosmic Era Strike Dagger. Now this is a premium Bandai exclusive kit. Just came to my door yesterday. I already had the unboxing of this guy here, along with a couple of others that was along for the ride. Now, straight off the bat, I'm going to do things a little bit differently here. We're actually going to start off with accessories, and the main reason why is, if you notice here, I have this guy in a rather dynamic pose, and what I am showcasing here is actually the fact that this weapon here, which is very awesome by the way, but let's actually take off the hand here. It can move the this little, I don't know what you'd call this little handle, and the gun can move. And holy crap, I swear this is like the only high grade that can do this. There's tons of freaking kits with rifles and they have like a little handle here, but you can't move it. So once again, kudos to Bandai for actually making this a thing. And the funny thing is, this gun is literally just 3 pieces. You slap 2 pieces together for the actual weapon itself, and then you put on the little handle here in between it. It just looks simple. Well, looks simple. It's simple to make, and again, looks very good. Like, I don't understand why they can't do this with every high grade. It's like, this is mind-boggling. Now, another accessory that came with this thing, this is actually the exact same weapon from the Dagger L, which this is based off of. And this is actually made with leftover parts. There was nothing in the manual on how to build it, but it's simple enough. I can't even say I built it from memory. It's just, this is about 4 pieces. You slap 2 halves together, put on a little targeting sensor here, and then the muzzle, and that's literally it. So of course, since this uses a lot of pieces over from the Dagger L, it fits in the hand no problem whatsoever. You just sandwich the 2 pieces in, and voila. So the next accessory, as you can see already on the kit itself, we have the shield. Just give me a moment to put this hand back together. So originally I thought this was the exact same shield as the Dagger L's, but I'll compare them a little later. But this is actually an entirely new shield. However, it does use the clip on the arm to hold the shield. So you can actually spin this piece around if you wanted to kind of hide that little ball socket there, or you could just, oops, was that the beam saber? Oh, thank God that didn't break the clip. I don't know how that happened, but okay. Since this thing is clearly very eager to show off the beam saber there, I would do just that. So didn't want for it to fall off like that, but again, as usual for these kits, it has 2 beams, but only 1 beam saber, as apparently it's easier for them just to throw on 2 instead, but it's not a big deal. It's actually probably a good thing, actually, as that means you now have leftover beams you could use for other kits. Now, I swore the beam saber for this thing was supposed to be a lot bigger than this, but this is most likely a leftover piece from another kit. In fact, now to look at, I'm pretty sure this is the exact same beam saber that came with the Dagger L, maybe even a Wyndham. But nonetheless, it was at least the right color, and they used a proper yellow beam for it, so yeah, I can't be too mad at it. But it of course just fits right in the hand, no issues whatsoever. There's actually a peg in here, but again, this is a leftover, or sorry, a reused piece from the Dagger L. So this peg was supposed to be used to mount it on its side armor, but again, this thing has no use for it, so yeah. Also want to mention, this beam saber is very tight, so be careful when putting this thing, the beam saber in this thing, or even on this backpack. If you drop this thing on top of this beam saber, this will break. So again, be very, very, very careful with kits like this. It's one false move and yeah, you're never gonna be able to use this beam saber. Now for the final accessory for this kit, thank God I had something handy. We have the optional backpack here, or the parachute pack, I should say. I honestly probably could have got that out just my finger, but anywho. So basically all you do is you take off that little piece in the back, and then you put the backpack right on there. And honestly, this is my first time actually putting this thing on, because once I put that gun in the hand, I'm like, you know what? We're going to leave it just like that to the review. But I, of course, played around the articulation, so I know what was in store for this thing. So, well, first of all, I really like this backpack. This really gives this thing a lot more character. And honestly, I feel like they should have used this backpack, at least from when these things started to deploy in space. I feel like this is a pretty space-use looking thing, but I guess it does look kind of parachutey with these little clips here. But regardless, it looks pretty good. This is, again, very simple to make, the entire kit, but the backpack in general is about 4 pieces. So, real quick, going over the colors. As you see here, everything you have in front of you is what you get from this kit here. So the only thing you really needed to color in is a few details, you know, lining it, some pieces here black, but besides that, this thing's solid. Even had clear pieces for the eyes there. Pretty dark, but I'm sure you can make it out there. What was I about to say? One thing that also you really would need to color is the sensor for the gun here. What I've been noticing a lot lately with these high grades is they've been using less and less stickers, which isn't a bad thing, but there's certain things where it's like you kind of have to spring in for a sticker, because again, that gun is missing the sensor there. So of course you'll be able to color that in, but just something I wanted to point out. So we're gonna go ahead and go into articulation here now. So of course the head goes 360. Look up pretty good. And of course all the ball joints look a wiggle around as well. Arm can go 360. It's going to be behind her a little bit by this backpack now, but shoulder has a great articulation, although it's on a ball joint, so the more you move around, it's kind of gets a little bit loose, but again, you still get great articulation here. You see 360. Perfect bend at the arm, maybe a little restricted by the armor here. And this thing also has a bit of an inner frame too, which is interesting. So of course, I was able to move a lot better without the actual armor on it, but still good nonetheless. Great hip movement here. Can even move back and forth a little bit for sort of an ab crunch. This kit, just like the Dagger L, because again, these things use a lot of the same pieces. These are supposed to be connected, but I cut them in half and then sandwiched on this crouch piece here. So as you can see now, they are individually articulated. Move the side armor up a little bit. This can go 360. It's gonna get it hindered by the backpack a little bit again. Leg. Again, perfect bend, a little bit hindered by the leg there, but from me posting the Dagger L, which again, this thing is not even 90. Yeah, 90, 80% of its pieces are from the Dagger L, so it has the same articulation, but as you can see here, the legs here are just amazing. Like, look at that articulation, and this is a high grade. Like, I just can't praise Bandai's high grades enough. Like, this thing is double jointed on a ball joint. Like, you can do a wide range of poses with this thing. Like, I just have to show it off. Like, just the amount of poses you can do with this thing, just because how amazing the articulation is. You know, it's very stable too. This thing is solid as a rock. I mean, I just built this thing literally yesterday. So this looks like a newborn baby here. And I haven't even put this thing through the ringer. I tend to put my kits through that, make them so, you know, loose. So again, you could do a lot with these kits, and of course, its potential is just maximized when you were to, let's say, slap them on an action base like I have here. So of course, there's going to be a little hole underneath the crotch there. You put that right inside there. And now suddenly you just unlock, you know, a whole world of different poses with this thing. So I'm sure you guys already know what the verdict is for this kit. Much like the Dagger L, I'm going to give this thing a 5-star rating. I couldn't recommend this thing anymore. My only thing I'll tell you guys is to keep an eye out for when it releases again on P-Bandai, because I've already kind of browsed around and people are trying to sell this thing for around $39 to $58. So that's almost triple its price, which is $18. So if you can't wait, pick up the Dagger L. It's basically the same kit, looks a little bit different. I'd say it has worse accessories, but at least it'll hold you over until this thing comes back in stock. And this uses Bandai's new system, where this thing has, again, high quality accessories, articulation, and of course, it can be built very fast. I'm a little slow. I take my time on my kits, but I built this thing in around 4 hours or less. And again, like I said, that's me taking my time. If you're a bit more experienced or a little more eager to build things, you know, without take your time making sure you're doing everything absolutely right, like me, you could probably ink this thing out 2 hours or less easily. But that being said, we're gonna go ahead and have some fun here. So of course we have the final in the line of the Earth Alliance suits here, the Wyndham. So the Wyndham is quite a bit taller than this thing actually. Yeah, I don't know if that's accurate or not. I don't remember if this thing's supposed to be leaps and shoulders above it in height. But we of course also have its successor, the Dagger L. So you can kind of compare these things here. The Strike Dagger looks to be a little bit taller, but you could already see a lot of similarities here. Everything from the waist down is exactly the same. It's just a literal color swap, with the Dagger L being more white, whereas the Strike Daggers is off white, which actually I really like. And you can see some of the things I did and didn't color. Just love the ruby red shoes on this one though, but again, it just really contrasts each other very well. The cockpit's a bit different, actually. I thought this thing might have been a bit more reused, but yeah. Maybe I say this thing's about 50%, because I didn't know that the torsos were totally different. This is my first time looking at these things together. The collar even looks different. I think the backpacks might be the same. Well, we're gonna check something out I really wanted to see in a second there, but the I have these things kind of posed a little different, but the arms are exactly the same though. Even the hands too. It's just again the color swap. But yeah, the arms are the same, the legs, the waist. It's really just the chest of the head, the shoulders that are really different, honestly. So I don't know what that classifies as maybe 70% or not. But like I said, we're gonna have some fun here. So one thing I noticed is the backpacks look pretty similar. If you notice here, it's a little bit different, but I'm sure just looking at that little socket at the back, you see where I'm about to go with this. So like I said, we're gonna have some fun here. And I want to test something out. So, in canon, geez, I'm trying to make up words here. The Strike Dagger did not use the striker pack system that the Dagger and Wyndham did. So that's why you're supposed to plug that hole in with this little, this little piece here. However, because this thing uses so many parts with the Dagger L, as I expected, you now have a parachute pack that you could use with the Dagger L if you want to show off some little orbital drop type things going on with this thing. Speaking of which, I can't believe it. Antenna popped. I don't know how that happened. Oof, there, fix that. But I already showed off that this thing can use the Wyndham's Jet Striker. However, I did not check to see if they Strike Dagger can uncanonically use the Jet Striker, and I get a feeling that it can, but let's see. So look at that. So this was a surprise. I did not think that it'd be able to do this. I kind of had a feeling it would, because with another thing Ben has been doing a lot of their kits is making sure they're all very compatible. That way you can kit bash, because of course, when you have all the build diver shows and all that going around, I mean, it's a little hard for them not to make fans be able to create their own suits of their own, you know, their own head canon and all that. So this is actually very cool. I'm glad that you can do this nonetheless. I don't know how much I would play around and do it, but again, it still is good to know, especially for you guys if you were interested in this. This just made this thing stock go up even more for me, in my opinion, because now you have a cool looking kit here. It's cheap. It's just a matter of you being patient, waiting for it to show up on P-Bandai, really. And now the fact that you can use some of these extra striker packs with it. And of course, if you guys didn't see my unboxing, I do have the expansion set for these guys I just got. So I might end up getting around to building that thing right away. I might wait a little bit. It depends on how I feel, because I am currently building something else. I kind of put on hold to ink this thing out real quick last night, but I might end up definitely having to say screw it and build that one too, just for the sake of, you know, getting these guys some more striker packs to play around with. So once again, guys, I thank you so much for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe. I have been Rare Model Reviews, and have some patience and pick this thing up. If you're a fan of Seed, if you like high grades, if you like Federation style high grades, just give yourself an excuse to grab this guy, or even one of these guys right here as well. All great kits. I couldn't recommend these things any higher. The Wyndham is my favorite out of the three, but just keep in mind that this was the first of the group. So this thing has a few pieces that I don't want to say are loose, but they don't fit quite as well as the others due to some older technology. For example, the waist here is a ball joint for this guy, but it is a peg for this one. So as you see there, how much effort it took for me to take this guy out compared to that one. So there's a few things that they did correct, but just being able to interswap the striker packs really just ups the quality and the overall playability with the three of these things. So like I said, if you can't pick up all three of them, or even just picking this guy up, oops, sorry, oops, I'm getting confused here. Just picking up this guy, the Dagger L, you definitely would be disappointed. So take care.